Alright, so last season we had, in my opinion, one of the most interesting and exciting fantasy football seasons that our league has had, I think ever, honestly. And so what this video is going to be, I'm just going to be recapping week to week what happened in our league, going over the narratives, the storylines, the big trades that happened, if you remember those. Those are crazy. Also at the end, I'm giving out awards. So for the first arc of this season, we have Eric's arc. Now, I don't know how many of you remember this, because I didn't until I looked at this recap again, because I made this at the end of our season and I'm just looking at it again now. Last year, Eric was projected to be in first place by Yahoo after our draft. Yeah, Eric. The thing is, for the first 2 weeks, Eric was going crazy. For the first week, he put up 171. The second week, he put up 161. Honestly, it was one of the best 2-game stretches of like the whole season. And he's the only team in the regular season to have 2 160 plus point back-to-back games. Everything is clicking for him. So Eric, week 2, honestly, the Yahoo projection was looking right. And then, literally, 1 week later, against Miguel, he doesn't put up 100 points after dropping 160. Doesn't even hit 100. Maybe it was a fluke, maybe it was just, maybe it's a bad week. Nope, next week, less than 100 points again. His team kind of just fell off a cliff after the Christian McCaffrey injury, and we never heard from Eric again. Other thing to note during Eric's short-lived arc is that Derrick Henry was showing that he's a threat. Look at this, 47 points on my dome. So this is where Brendan first showed that he could be a threat in this league. But yeah, rest in peace to Eric. His team never recovered. Now the next arc, I'm gonna call this arc the trade deadline arc. During this time, a lot of teams were falling into place, the league was becoming separated, and so we had these trades, and honestly, I was really confused because I didn't really get them at the time. The first trade was the 2 Arizona running backs, Chase Edmonds and James Conner, for Odell Beckham Jr. Miguel giving Edmonds and Conner for Odell to Gabe Noda. And this was weird. I just thought, is this an overpay for Odell? I mean, we know why. It was just Miguel sucking this man off. But I'm going to say Noda definitely won this trade. And then there was this random trade for Zach, but that was centered around Zach Moss and Brandon Cooks, which I just thought was really weird. So Brendan gets Zach Moss and Marquise Brown, and then Gabe Mason gets Brandon Cooks and Tyler Boyd. I mean, so I don't know who won this trade. I don't know if anybody won this trade. I mean, if I had to pick one, I guess Gabe Mason, but he finished last anyway, so it didn't do much for him. I don't know. This is a really weird trade, but what I will say is that actually seeing trades go through in this league was nice. It was refreshing because in my short time as commissioner back in high school, that shit, having to deal with everyone vetoing every trade, that was not the play. So even if these trades aren't that exciting, they aren't that, they don't have that big of an impact, I'm just glad that trades are actually going through. I hope it stays that way. Please keep it that way. It makes the league more exciting. Back to football. Gabe Mason dropped 170 on Gabe Noda and this is what really drove home the fact that that Noda was kind of cursed this season. Not in terms of injuries, but in terms of people just overperforming against him. For them all to go off on the same week against Noda is incredible. Also in this week, Alexis shows that he's a possible playoff contender. He hit 180 points, 188 to be exact, with Cooper Kupp, Dalvin Cook, Darrell Williams. Really? Wow. Alright. Week 7. Honestly, there was not much in week 7. Noda's curse, once again, living on. He loses to my bench with, what was that, 4 or 5 people out, pretty much 5 of my starters out. I still somehow put up 161 points with like almost a full waiver wire / bench team. Hey, I'm sorry, Noda, okay? I'm sorry. You didn't deserve what happened to you last season. I hope things go better this season, but not too well because I still want to win. Alright, week 8. Now this is a banger of a week. Caleb, although he was near the bottom of the standings, he showed that he was definitely an upset threat. He had Jonathan Taylor and Aaron Jones, and those guys go off for sure. I mean, he beat Eric, but he still put up a lot of points. Caleb put up a lot of points. Eric, not so much. And speaking of Eric, this is the week where his season was kind of solidified as being over when DeAndre Hopkins went out with injury also. So Christian McCaffrey's been gone. Now Hopkins is gone. There's just nothing left for him. Speaking of players that left, Calvin Ridley, this is when the statement came out that he was taking a mental break. A mental break from football. And so he also took a mental break from Jack's team. And then Derrick Henry went down with injury, and this was a massive blow to Brendan's team because obviously that's his king. Just as a reminder, this is the trade deadline arc, and oh boy, these trades. This trade was a league-defining moment, I'll say. Not the first one on this screen. Saquon Barkley and Jerry Jeudy for Terry McLaurin. Did anybody really win that? I mean, I guess Terry McLaurin was good. And you didn't really have to give up much for him. So Miguel is still continuing to flex his deep draft. Yeah, Miguel actually had a pretty... Honestly, I think if Miguel didn't make any trades, his team would have been a lot better. That his team was stacked. His draft was very, very good. So I will give Miguel credit for that. I just don't think you should have made these trades, dog. That's all I'm saying. But here, the big one, obviously. We all know it. We remember it. Honestly, I still don't believe this trade should have happened. Not that it was unfair. I just don't think this trade should have ever been on the table. If I'm being completely honest. I'm sorry, Alexei. I just don't think this should have ever been done. Pup list Michael Thomas and Najee Harris for Cooper Kupp and Cole Beasley. Now, I get it. Okay, Cole Beasley's not really a piece here. It's pretty much just Pup, Michael Thomas, and Najee Harris for Cooper Kupp. But Cooper Kupp, you got rid of Cooper Kupp?
I know his rationale was that if Michael Thomas comes back, then he'll fill in for Cooper Kupp, and then, he didn't really lose that much. Honestly, with the way Cooper Kupp performed, I don't think Michael Thomas would have been near... I don't think he would have been close enough to Cooper Kupp to warrant getting rid of him. Now, I know you got Najee Harris. I know you were taking a risk. But if you look at their records, at this point, Cade is 2-6. Alexei is 4-4. Alexei is much, much, much closer in the playoff race than Cade is, obviously. Cade's at the bottom right at this moment in time. Cade's literally at the bottom. So... honestly, I don't know how Cade did it.
Cade, I don't know how you did it. I don't think you should have gotten away with this. I don't think this should have happened. I think you should have stayed at the bottom. I don't think you should have gotten Cooper Kupp. I think you got absurdly lucky. Obviously, I will give you credit for getting the trade done, though. Alright, credit to you for that. And so, with the end of the trade deadline, with the end of this season's trades, comes the next arc, what I'm calling the training arc. This is where we get to see what happens with these teams that made trades. And we can see that here with Cade and Alexei. So, with these trades from good old Team Karen Rodgers and Team Herbert's Hecklers, the next week they actually both get wins against top teams. The two big name players, Najee Harris and Cooper Kupp, that were traded between the two teams were actually some of the biggest parts of them winning. I put up a stinker this week. Najee Harris, and I think that's Elijah Moore. they put up big points. Even though neither of us really scored that many points, it is kind of it does show that there is still potential in Alexei's team, even though he traded away Cooper Kupp, which I still cannot fathom. I cannot fathom it. I so badly wanted to veto that trade, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna let him live with it, alright? I'm gonna let him live with it. In a much more high-scoring match, Cade beats Miguel. Miguel was obviously the top dog at the time, let's say. Top teams still cementing themselves as the top tier. Middle of the pack is starting to get competitive, and the bottom teams, while they are at the bottom, they do show some upset potential, so you still can't count on having a bad opponent in any week. This could not be more apparent than Caleb dropping a fucking nuke week 11. Puts up 212 points with Jonathan Taylor going absolutely insane against Alexei. I mean, bro, Jonathan Taylor put up 53 points. 212 is by far the highest score of the season. I mean, hey, Caleb, you didn't win much this year, but this was a crazy fucking win, dude. Good shit. Just to make things even crazier, the next week, Jack put up 195 points on top of Alexei's head. I mean, this score differential is hilarious. 195 to 88. Bro, what even happened? What even happened? Leonard Fournette put up 44 points. I mean, this has to be the biggest differential of the year. Like, this is insane. And then at the same time, Miguel and Eric are just taking a nap together. They're not doing much over there in their game. I did say that there was teams with upset potential, and you couldn't rely on just having a bad opponent in a week, but I guess that's not the case here. While this was a rather short training arc, it leads to, without a doubt, the most interesting part of any show, in my opinion, and our season. It's the tournament arc. Yes, I know, the playoffs are literally right there, but I think that this deserves to be part of the tournament arc because of what happened in these last 3 weeks of the regular season. So pretty much, the 4th seeded spot is a 4-way race. This is going to be tough to show. So as you see here, Noda is in 4th place, Alexei's in 5th place, Cade's in 6th place, and Jack is in 7th place. And they are all fighting for that 4th place spot. You can see their records on screen, and whenever they have tied records, they are arranged by point order. And then after the next week, Noda loses, Alexei loses, Cade loses, but Jack wins. So now they're literally all the same exact record with 2 weeks left. 2 weeks. 2 weeks left. This is, like, I don't know if we've had a closer playoff race. And all 4 teams very legitimately had a chance at making it. And so, week 14, we had a head-to-head match between Gabe Noda and Alexei. And Alexei actually wins that one, going to 7-7. Cade also wins, and Jack wins as well. However, in this case, Noda, who usually has the most points, is the only one that's 6-8, and everyone else is 7-7. So now Jack is actually in the 4th place spot. Alexei's in 5th, and Cade's in 6th. However, the kicker of this all, Week 15, the last week of the regular season, Cade and Jack have a head-to-head match. Cade wins. Cade wins. Cade beats Jack in the last week of the season, going to 8-7, while everyone else sits at 7-8. Noda wins, so he secures 5th place in the regular season. Jack falls to 6th, and Alexei falls to 7th. By some miracle of the Lord, Cade finishes the season 8-7 after starting 2-6. Like I said,
I don't think that trade should have ever been on the table. Ever. I think Cade got stupidly lucky. But
He did it. He turned the team around, and I can't deny that. And so, the playoffs were set. And what better way to start the playoffs than Miguel fucking waking up late to set his lineup and leaving in an injured and out DeAndre Swift. I mean, this was a crazy moment because I woke up late too, but I didn't have an injured player in my starting lineup. Even though I had two people that were injured and out. So Miguel has a dead spot in the semifinal. Just a dead running back spot. 0 points no matter what. And by an even greater miracle, Cade still manages to lose. I mean, he handed it to you. But looking at your team, they sucked ass. Honestly, you both sucked ass. I'm gonna keep it a buck. You both sucked ass. Miguel had like 4 players pretty much do anything. And then Cade, like, oh my god. I'm like getting mad that this was even the playoffs. Cade, your kicker outperformed half your team. What am I looking at? Why are you starting Myles Gaskin? Oh my god. Myles Gaskin. Oh my god, you were down horrendous. Myles Gaskin? Jesus, man. I'm moving on to the actual good playoff match. In the consolation bracket, Gabe noted like doubled Eric's score. And honestly, I could have seen this coming. I might have predicted this, to be honest. God, Eric's team looks so sad. Oh my god, he's starting AJ Green. Oh man. Wow, he was down bad too, but we knew that. He's been down bad since week 3. Oh yeah, and then in the consolation final, this just looks so funny to me. Jack overperformed his projection and Noda underperformed at 156. Like what? How was that possible? How were you projected more than 156? With his win in the consolation final, Noda got the most slices in this year's draft. Congrats to him. That is coming up on Wednesday. It is currently Friday. So, hey, I'm very excited for that. On to the good playoff, the real good playoff game. By far the best one for some reason. Me against Brendan. We both performed, we both put up a lot of points. Brendan put up a good fight. These 2 weeks of the playoffs, Joe Burrow was a demon. Oh my god, Joe Burrow was slinging that meat. He was slinging that rock. He was going crazy. And of course, if he's going crazy, Jamar Chase is going crazy. 162 to 142. Like I said, by far the best, most competitive, most interesting playoff game to actually monitor. I mean, I guess the one between Cade and Miguel was closer, but my god, nobody scored anything in that game. Because I think we had some people going in like the later games. So like throughout the day, throughout like the early games, it was kind of hard to tell who was going to win. And this week I was really worried because Eckler was out and Kelsey was out. Those are literally my first two picks in the draft. I didn't have them for this game. So I was worried. I was very scared. I was like, damn, like there's nothing I can really do about it. And then I messed up my waiver wire order, so I didn't even get Justin Jackson. I mean, Brendan has him. It's kind of crazy. 34 points? Like, like if I didn't mess up my waiver wire order, then I would have had him, and this would not be anywhere near as close. But, yeah, I messed up. But I made up for that by still having a good draft, still having 2 other running backs that were good. My personal favorite playoff game of last season, not just because I won. It was legitimately a good game. It was a good sports between me and Brendan, no bad blood or anything. And then after I won, he told me to let me go win, little rock star. I think that's what he called me. And hey, I do what I do. Hey, remember that stat at the beginning? about Eric being the only team to put up 160 in back-to-back weeks. Yeah, there's a reason I said in the regular season. Because, baby, I did in the fucking playoffs. Bitch, let's go. 175 to 95. Hey, Miguel, you made the finals, alright? Should you be here? Had you gone against anybody other than Kate in the playoffs? Literally any of the other teams that were fighting for 4th place, would you be in this final? I don't know. But hey, you made it. You got your 2nd place money, so congrats for that. But hey, this league is named after me for a reason, motherfuckers. This is my shit, alright? You know who else's shit this is? Jamar Chase. I had him in the flex. He wasn't even in my wide receiver 1 or 2. I put him in the flex. And he fucking flexed on you, motherfucker. 55 big ones from the man. Honestly, I didn't even need to say all that. I could have just said Jamar Chase and let his highlight reel run. Yeah, I might still do that. I get my crown back after winning in, was it 2016? 2017? This league is named after me. I'm surprised we haven't changed it, to be honest. I don't even know how that happened, but I'm not going to complain. Yes, with that championship game, with me taking home the trophy, it came to the end of our 2021-2022 Fantasy Football League season. And now, like any good sports team does at a banquet, everyone gets an award. But I'm starting with Gabe Mason. Gabe Mason, there's honestly not much I can tell you. You got last. I was thinking of giving you the Irony Award because in the very final week of the season, you actually put up the 3rd highest points in the league, which is absolutely hilarious because that's when it could not matter any less to you. You were out of the playoff race for a very long time. But hey, you performed in the final week, so you have that going for you. I mean, you had injury problems, which is very unfortunate. Robert Woods, Adam Thielen, Will Fuller. But as a thanks for you organizing our draft and our league and all that, I will give you the Best Commissioner Award. Caleb, I'm giving you the Barry Sanders Award. Now, I'm giving you this award because you had, by far, the best running back of the season, but no playoffs. Very similar to the career of Barry Sanders on the Detroit Lions, that poor soul. I think, personally, that Jonathan Taylor last season was the most valuable player in fantasy football because of the lack of running back depth around the league. I mean, if you go back and look at those playoffs, look at some of the running backs that are starting. It's kind of gross. Cordero Patterson, who fell off late. Miles Gaskin, injured DeAndre Swift. Eckler got hurt. Derrick Henry got hurt. What I'm saying is that there were a lot of injuries, inconsistency at the running back position in general, I think. So to have a player like Jonathan Taylor that was number 5 overall in scoring and the only running back in the top 10, I think it says a lot. I think it makes his value that much better because I've always believed, and I've made this known, I've always believed that it's a lot easier to find value in receivers than running backs. So that's why I think that Jonathan Taylor was kind of the MVP last season, even though Caleb's team didn't make the playoffs. Eric, honestly, I had no idea what to call your award because you had a very unfortunate season. So I'm giving you the Christian McCaffrey Award because you're projected to be the best at the start of the season, and then, right along with Christian McCaffrey went your team, straight to the bottom. Hopefully he stays healthy this year, regardless of whose team he's on. He might go to your team again. You have the first pick, right? So hey, if you draft him again, or if Noda drafts him, hope he stays healthy because you two seem to be a little bit unlucky. Here's your Christian McCaffrey Award. Up next, we have Alexei. Alexa, you get the Shaq Award because your team was icy hot. This is a basketball reference, but I was gonna call this the fucking Katy Perry Award, so you get Shaq. Now, what I mean by icy hot is that Alexa's team had a really high ceiling but a super low floor. He was the only team to have a 100-point differential between his highest and lowest score, excluding Caleb's 212-point game. His highest was 188 and his lowest was just 88. I mean, I don't even know how that's the same team. It's kind of insane. Other people have put up less points than him, but no one had such a high peak and then a low bottom. So Alexa, you can have your Shaquille O'Neal broken backboard icy hot sponsorship award. Jack. Now, it seems like I'm pandering, but I swear this makes sense. Jack, you get the Minnesota Vikings award. Much like the Minnesota Vikings, your team was middle of the pack. You were so close to the playoffs. You were right there. You had the stars, you had the firepower, but it just didn't come together. I mean, your team had really good potential. You put up 195 points. But injuries to your running backs, Robinson and Fournette, is just injuries can be really hard to overcome. That like a lot of the people that I've already given awards to, their teams fell apart because of injuries, and you just didn't have enough to make the playoffs. But hey, now you have something in common with your favorite team. I'm sorry. Gabe Noda, your award, you're most unlucky. I don't even need to explain this. I'm sorry. You had far and away the most points scored against you. And you literally would have made money if you had one more regular season win. So I'm very, very sorry that... very sorry you had to go through that. Glad you got your 5th seed. Got your slices for the draft. I hope things go better for you this season, man. Brendan. Now, Brendan, again, this might seem like pandering, but I think it makes perfect sense. I mean, the way that these teams and their players parallel each other, it's kind of insane. Brendan gets the Titans/Derrick Henry Award. Magically, I don't really know how, to be honest with you. But despite the Derrick Henry injury, Brendan's team Brendan's team persevered through major injury and even made the playoffs. Lots of other people, like we've seen, like I've talked about already, lost their playoff chances to injury. Their teams never recovered and it was over for them. Brendan lost a first-round running back, still made it to the playoffs. It's amazing, honestly. And that's kind of what the Titans did. They lost Derrick Henry. They lost their main man, and they made it to the playoffs. Unfortunately, they both also lost in the first round of the playoffs. It's very unfortunate. But Brendan, I do really want to give you a lot of credit. You did what a lot of other teams couldn't. You made it through injuries on your team. A major injury. So I really do want to give you credit for being able to make the playoffs still. Thank you for putting up a good fight in the playoffs, man. Good job. Cade. Oh, Cade. Cade, I'm giving you... Yes, this is another basketball reference. I'm giving you the LeBron Award. Now, I'm giving you the LeBron Award because at a certain point you said, you know what? Just trade everyone. Just trade everyone. Fuck it. Somehow, I will give you credit for it. Somehow, with these trades, you made it from the depths of 2-6 to make the playoffs. Like I said, insane that you got Cooper Kupp. But hey, you got Cooper Kupp and you did your thing. You let your stars cook. If I'm giving you the LeBron Award, I would say that Justin Herbert and Cooper Kupp were your LeBron and D Wade. And then Myles Gaskin was like J.R. Smith or something. Miguel. You had Antonio Brown on your team. And if you didn't know, the nickname Antonio Brown gave himself is Mr. Big Chest. Mr. Big Chest, or MBC. A lot of people in the, especially in the NFL subreddit, love to make MBC nicknames for anybody really. And so I'm gonna do that for you. Miguel, you can be Mr. Blowout Competition. You had the highest average margin of victory by far. On average, you won games by 14, which doesn't sound like a lot, but to win on average by like pretty much a whole player, that's very good. Another NBC nickname for you, mismatching ball catchers. You had trades involving lots of receivers. Odell, Scary Terry, Jerry Jeudy, I guess. I don't think Jerry Jeudy did much for you, but you did. But hey, neither did Odell. And then the saddest one I have to give to you. But if I roasted everybody else or anybody else at any point, it's only fair that I do it to you. Missing in big competitions. There's not much else to say about that one, man. Your playoff scores were very sad. And you were literally missing in the big you literally didn't set your lineup. I mean, it's not even like a joke. Like, you were literally missing. You were literally missing. So, hey, man. Is it credit for making it this far? Or that far. Not this far. You better... Hey. If you can do it again this year... Hey, I'll acknowledge you've improved. I'll acknowledge it for real. But you made it that far. You did your thing, alright? You had a really, really good draft. So much so that you were able to just trade away pieces for like nothing. But because I think that was one of your first good drafts, you didn't know what to do with all the goods you had. You had all this good shit. You were like, oh, I can just go take risks and just throw shit at the wall and maybe it'll stick. Nah, man. Nah. If you got it, you got it, man. Ultimately, I don't think it was worth it. But, like I said, great draft. It's incredible that you had that many pieces to work with. I commend you for that. Now, there's one more person that hasn't gotten an award, and it's me. But, yeah, I don't think there's a better award than this one. Hey, let me tell you what. It's staying here. It's staying here. It's backwards, but you know, fuck it, it's fine. So yeah, this is my award. Well deserved one, I think. Honestly, I do want to give myself a little bit. I've been boasting a bit, but I do want to give myself a little bit of a pat on the back. My team had a little bit of injuries, definitely not as much as others. I think in ended up being like the biggest week of the season, the semifinal against Brendan. I was missing Eckler and Kelsey, my first two picks, and I found a way to win still. Said I do think it's because I had a good draft, and I do want to, and I do want to emphasize that whatever we change with the waiver wire, whatever people vote for, I will always believe that you win in the draft. Always, 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 always. And with those final words, going into next season, I do want to say that last season was great. I had a lot of fun. Feels like everyone has definitely gotten a pretty good grasp on fantasy football by now. Brendan's come a long way from being clowned for drafting Tom Brady too high. Caleb has definitely blossomed. He's won a championship. He's really gotten into the groove of things. Since I would say at the beginning he was probably closer to an auto draft bot. Not entirely, but I do think that his knowledge of how fantasy football works and the players in the league has definitely gotten a lot better. I think it goes for a lot of people in our league, not just Caleb, but Caleb's just the one that came to mind because all the other people in our league are kind of football nerds that kind of knew what they were doing, that were like, that were really into it already. And so see people like Caleb come through and we get a hold of things, it's really great. I think it's just great for a league that we all get better. It just makes things more interesting, and I'm really excited for next season. I'm honestly more motivated to win now that I can defend my title. Really excited for the season. I'm really excited to see what you guys pull out. Whoa, pause. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, let me know. Maybe I could do this every year. Maybe I do a draft recap video, where I just give my thoughts on everyone's teams or whatever, something like that maybe. I'm very excited to draft on Wednesday. I've been prepping for it for a while now. I'm really excited to kick your ass again this year, guys. Alright, hey, I'll see you Wednesday.